Hi everyone, it's Paula. I just wanted to do a quick video on touch base about Granier Moss resigning. Um, us at Families for Justice have felt for a long time that Granier is not fit for purpose. Her history is in business. She's not a family woman, and her goal appeared to be to make that business succeed. She seemed to have very little interest in the families or the welfare of the children. She was backed up by the Minister for Children, Tracy Martin, who also refused to meet with the families, refused to listen to the children's needs. She just, again, wasn't fit for purpose. We were very happy when Tracy Martin did not take the role. She was replaced with Calvin Davies, who so far has done absolutely nothing to improve the scenario that I've seen personally. I can't speak for everybody, but I'd like to think that Calvin will step up sometime soon and change things, because at the moment nothing's for the better. I'd like to address the person that is going to take over Granier's role and just inform you that we will not be stopping simply because Granier's gone. This organisation, Oranga Tamariki, as they have renamed themselves from Ministry of Children, who renamed themselves from Ministry of Vulnerable Children, who renamed themselves from Child, Youth and Family, who renamed themselves from Child, Youth and Family Services, they're just not fit for purpose. They're not doing what's in the best interest of the children. The uplifts without notice are just horrendous. They're cruel. They leave people with lifetime traumas. The children never get over being uplifted. I know this from personal experience. My children, Dane and Hunter, were illegally and immorally uplifted. They were handed back. I was one of the exceptional few that got my children back within 5 months. And I didn't really understand the system prior to that happening. My children were taken on 15 counts of perjury, 11 of which I had evidence of, but I never got my chance to go to court and produce my evidence. I never got my chance to speak with a judge, speak in front of the judge. And another thing I found very difficult was to get a lawyer. So they come in with these without notice uplifts. They use police, which they shouldn't be, because this is civil, not criminal. And they take your children away very suddenly without warning. Your children are given very often to strangers. My children went to people that they'd never ever met before. They were hidden right away from everybody they knew. I probably had at least 8 people that could have passed the police check and could have had my children, but the MAVCOT, as it was then, Ministry of Vulnerable Children, wouldn't hear of it. So after my children were taken, I got involved with a group called Families for Justice. We've now combined with United, call ourselves United Families for Justice. There's many groups, not just us, out there fighting the good fight, trying to get justice for the families that have no voice, the children that have no voice. All of the places that were independent, such as Family Works, are now employed by OT, such as Bernardo's, they're now employed by OT. They created a group called Voice, Whakarongo Mai, again funded by OT. I have no doubt that these organisations give some people results that they need, but in my experience, probably due to my role, I come across more families that are not getting the results that they need, and the children are suffering unduly. They are withheld from their families for extended lengths of time. In my particular case, it was 5 months that I didn't get to see my children, not even once, and then they were dropped off on my doorstep with no day in court, and I still haven't been able to address the perjuries that the government agency committed in order to illegally kidnap my children from my home. One of the biggest problems that we come across is the family court will accept hearsay. They don't require any evidence from OT, so we're hoping that the next CEO is going to change this dramatically. There'll be hopefully a restructure, entire restructure, maybe a dissolving and rebuilding of this Child Protective Services, because at this point it very rarely protects children. There is the odd child that it gets right, the odd child that the odd family that does need their children removing for a period while the scenario is resolved. And I just want to make a shout out to some of our key players. Steve Evans is the face that most of you will see out there, and our media guy Mark Keane, he does all the recording, puts videos on YouTube, etc. Without these volunteers, OT would just simply be getting away with this and they wouldn't be being held accountable at all. None of us get paid. I don't know about the others, but I myself have been offered contracts more than once that do come with funding, and I've refused them because along with that funding comes the rules and regulations, which would limit me on acting honestly. I would then have to become one of them. So I've refused the funding that's been offered to me so that I can keep my moral grounds right where I want it with absolute clarity. I've got nothing to hide. You can Google me, you can search me up, you can ask me, you can confront me in the street. I have absolutely zero to hide. I'm not perfect. None of us are. We're just parents that are living our lives, doing the very best that we can. God, I've made some mistakes. I know there's not a single one of us that haven't. But taking our children is not the answer. For me personally, they said that I was going to kill my whole family with a knife. And then I had no interactions with OT prior to that. They say taking the children's the last resort. But we need to understand that that's not the case. So I hope that the new CO ensures that that is the case, because in my case it certainly was not. They took my children without any prior warning. They just turned up one day with the police and took them, and wasn't allowed to read the documents. And now as an advocate I find that that's standard. When the police turn up to take your children, you're not allowed to read. They hand you 20, 30, 40, I've seen up to 50 pages handed to parents when their children are taken, and you're not allowed to read them. So you don't even really know why they're taking your children. So that blame lands squarely on Granier's head because the buck stops with her. I have called out Kelvin Davies several times, hoping to have a response from him. So far, nothing. Nothing seems to have changed on his watch so far. But now that there's going to be a new captain at the helm, let's hope that everything changes. Granier has not done a good job. She's done a horrendous job. Like I say, she's a businesswoman. She was on over $600,000 a year, which is, I mean, the Prime Minister only gets just over $400,000. So it's insane that a CEO of one ministry is being paid that much to do such a crappy job as well. She's really done a very bad job at what she's done. Tracy was horrendous. We're glad she's gone. But so far, Kelvin hasn't done much better. So we're all hoping and praying that Kelvin steps up and starts to do a much better job representing the families. So I'd just like to say congratulations to all the advocacy and activist groups out there that have fought to get Granier to jump ship because she was sinking it. She was at the helm and it was sinking. And she's gone. So we're all very happy about that. Sorry that you're going to have to get new signs made, Steve. Those of you that have seen the Families for Justice signage, a lot of it calls for Tracy Martin's resignation and calls for Granier Moss's resignation. Now that we've achieved both of those, we're going to have to get some new signs. And really now we'll just pin our hopes on her replacement. We won't stop doing what we're doing, but we will hope and pray that that the next replacement CEO really absolutely shakes things up and starts listening to the people. One of the main things that concerns me is that when your children are taken, OT doesn't work with the whole family. They'll tell you again and again that they are not your social worker, they are the children's social worker. They don't work with the family, they don't work for the family. And I think that that's something that really needs to change until they start working together and using the entire family unit to make the situation better. I can't understand how their involvement fixes anything. I haven't seen it. So really look forward to restructure under the new CEO, and I'd like to wish you farewell, Granier. Thanks for nothing, and I'm pretty sure that the government will just move you sideways because you're a good businesswoman. I'm sure you've made millions for your company over the years. But now let's hope that going forward that the focus is going to be on the well-being of the children. Well done, Families for Justice. And congratulations, Steve Evans. I hope you can get some new signs. See ya.